What's up, Taiwan? Good afternoon. I'm Rik Glauert, bringing you news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Hopes for a joint presidential bid between Taiwan's two main opposition parties have come to a dramatic end. Ko Wen-je of the Taiwan's People Party registered on a solo ticket this morning. Joyce Zeng has the latest.
The recent chaos in Taiwan's local politics has all boiled down to this. The two main opposition parties will not form a joint ticket to go after the presidency in January's pivotal elections. Former Taipei Mayor Ko Wen-je from the Taiwan People's Party, or TPP, has just registered his bid in a single-party ticket, right on the day of the Election Commission deadline. He's pulled in U.S.-born Wu Xing-ying, or Cynthia Wu, as his running mate. She's a TPP lawmaker and former business exec, and hails from a family that runs one of Taiwan's biggest insurance groups. The pick may come as a surprise, as the party has really not discussed an alternative to a TPP-KMT coalition up until this point. There were some rumors of a potential alliance with Foxconn founder Terry Guo, but that also has not happened. Ke and his would-have-been alliance partner, Hou You-yi from the Kuomintang, or KMT, have both been individually polling behind the ruling Democratic Progressive Party's candidate, Lai Ching-te. After a messy will-they-won't-they back and forth, the potential for a more China-friendly opposition coalition collapsed after a bizarre last-minute press conference the night before the registration deadline, which saw Ke and Hou openly bicker on live TV, signaling frayed internal politics over who would yield to serve as the other's vice president, and little chance for resolve. The question now is whether the very public breakdown of the opposition coalition will hurt voter confidence for both the KMT and TPP. Now, the people are the ones to win over here, as Taiwan's top seat is secured by a first-past-the-post voting process. And with less than 2 months to go, it's crunch time for the opposition candidates to get their campaigns back on track in their own separate ways. Eason Chen and Joyce Zhen in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
While Ke and Wu were registering their ticket, the KMT revealed its nominee for vice president. Stash Butler reports from the party headquarters.
With just hours to the deadline, Hou You-yi, the presidential candidate for Taiwan's largest opposition party, the KMT, or Kuomintang, has registered for the January election alongside his pick for vice president. Media heavyweight Shao-kong, a talk show host with huge influence in the party. Now, Zhao actually quit politics back in the 90s to pursue a successful media career. He explained today at the press conference why he's decided to quit that and return to politics.
但是因为现在情况真的不一样，我觉得真的是临危受命，救亡图存。我觉得国家面临到这样的情况，两岸面临这样的情况，我们的下一代面临这样的情况，真的是要救台湾，出来就是救台湾。
Now, Zhao's stepping in last minute comes after the spectacular collapse of a deal between Hou You-yi, the KMT's candidate, and another candidate, the former Taipei Mayor Ke Wen-je of the Taiwan People's Party, a deal between them to join on one ticket to unseat the ruling Democratic Progressive Party. Now, after that deal has failed, it seems the KMT had chosen a rather different tactic. If joining with Ke was about appealing to the middle ground between the KMT and Taiwan's ruling DPP, then choosing Zhao Shao-kong is about appealing to the KMT's base. He's a massive figure in the party. Like the rest of his party, favors stronger ties with China, but more broadly appeals to a KMT voter who remembers the Taiwan of 30 to 40 years ago, a time when the economy was booming, when Chinese identity was strong, and the KMT was in power. Now, that couldn't be in more stark contrast to the ruling party's candidate for Vice President Kim, announced just this week. She's she's just left position as Taiwan's US envoy and is seen as close to Washington. Now, Xiao and the DPP's presidential pick, Lai Ching-te, are polling practically neck and neck with Hou You-yi and the KMT's campaign. Two starkly different campaigns, both in with a chance of winning, with Taiwan's election just 7 weeks away. Luffy Lee and Stash Butler in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Foxconn founder Terry Guo won't register to run in Taiwan's January presidential election, according to local media. The iPhone manufacturing billionaire had been set to run as an independent. He gathered hundreds of thousands of signatures in a bid to get on the ballot. But his campaign faltered after China opened an investigation into Foxconn, with Gore making few public appearances in recent weeks. A last-minute attempt by Gore to broker an opposition alliance also failed. For more on Taiwan's high political drama and what it means for voters, I spoke to local journalist Brian Hugh. So it's been a very dramatic week in terms of the presidential race here, and everything is right up to the wire. How typical is this for Taiwan politics?
It's not as dramatic as this usually. Taiwanese politics can be dramatic, and there are last-minute, unexpected moments that happen. I mean, to quote Cohen himself, until 5:30 p.m. on November 24th, anything is possible. And so this led to a lot of speculation about what happened, and people were prepared for unexpected turns. But I don't think people were prepared for the media spectacle that emerged yesterday night, with the candidates bickering live on television about who should be the candidate, and this kind of clash of the egos between the major candidates. That I don't think has happened before, and I think it will be remembered for a long time to come in Taiwanese politics.
And with the opposition candidates failing to unite against the front-runner Lai and for the DPP, what do you think this means for the presidential race?
For one, that means the fundamental dynamics of the race remain unchanged. Lai is still in an advantageous position to win as long as he does not miscalculate or stumble in some way. And so the Pan-Blue camp has continued to remain divided in spite of polls showing that if they came together, they would stand a strong chance of overturning Lai. And so that points to these continued splits within the Pan-Blue camp that are very deep, that they can't come together, and they will continue to fight about anything and everything. I think the media spectacle that emerged is quite interesting because it reflects the trends in the past few years, where you have these very kind of politically incorrect or frank-talking politicians. And in certain venues, that works very well to draw and rile up a crowd. But when it comes to maybe establishment politics, it doesn't work out.
There was truly extraordinary scenes unfolding live on TV from all these major opposition candidates. Could you tell us, how was it received in Taiwan? What do the Taiwan voting public think about this?
So particularly as we see the kind of rise of streaming and as it becomes faster and faster to post random content online, videotaped content, this is affecting politics in a way that's quite interesting. I mean, for one, it is a spectacle, a media spectacle. That's always been the case, even before the rise of social media. But then I think now this demand for example, transparency has kind of interfaced with politics in a very interesting way where it can become spectacle. I mean, for example, the candidates yesterday were fighting over that they all wanted, as they all claimed, fair and transparent elections, to have this process be very open. And the question was whether they would negotiate secretly behind the doors or not. And that's another kind of contention between them. And so then that this could play out publicly in real time as candidates are not having a closed-door meeting to hash out details, but in a very public way while they're trying to perform for the public and grandstand and to come off into a superior position compared to their opponents. That kind of played itself out in the public in a very open way.
That was local journalist Brian Hugh speaking to me about Taiwan's recent political drama. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen has inspected troops in the central city of Taichung. It comes just ahead of Taiwan extending conscription to 1 year. Our reporter Jaime Ocon takes a look.
Taiwan's conscripts training to defend their country. These soldiers are getting a crash course in how to move through a battlefield, working together as a unit to push back the enemy. It's the culmination of 8 weeks of training, with this course being one of the final tests to ensure these men are fit to fight.
透过这样的方式去训练训员能够在战场能够有抗压性，遇到枪声不会害怕，一样勇往直前。在各种地形地物是否利用稳当的姿势跟他们运动的方式是否为标准动作来做评断。
This training course in the central city of Taichung is being upgraded with new equipment as the country prepares for the next wave of conscripts. Last year, Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen extended mandatory military service from 4 months to 1 year. And now the country is preparing for over 9,000 conscripts in 2024. That move was due in part to increased military pressure from China, which seeks to take Taiwan. Tsai said the conscripts undergoing this training are key to deciding how to adjust next year's program.
我们的目标是要让每一位义务役男都具有执行守备和民防任务的能力， 拥有自己的国家、自己守护的信念，也让整体的国军在服役的时候得到国家更好的照顾与支持。
Taiwan has a volunteer force of around 215,000, and conscripts serve an important supporting role. With the first of the one-year conscripts set to start their service in January, the new training courses and equipment aim to ensure these soldiers are prepared for whatever lies ahead. John Su and Jaime Okan for TaiwanPlus.
One film is leading this year's Golden Horse Awards with 9 nominations. It tells the story of one of Malaysia's most infamous tragedies through traditional Chinese opera. Our reporter Rhys Ayres jumps into snow in Midsummer.
On May 13th, 1969, one of the most pivotal moments in modern Malaysian history unfolded on the streets of Kuala Lumpur. It was a bloody riot that left hundreds dead and the country in a state of emergency. The event, known today as the May 13 incident, lives on in the minds of many Malaysians, including film director Chong Keat-un.
我从小就其实都听到513事件，尤其我的奶奶小时候她都会说，如果你不回家的话呢，513会杀掉你。所以我们从小就活在一种恐惧当中。
The riots came days after the 1969 general election, when two mostly ethnically Chinese opposition parties made significant gains on the ruling Malay coalition. It sparked ethnic violence, which official figures say led to 196 deaths.
只要大选一到，种族的议题就随时随地会变成一种被讨论的一个课题，因为毕竟种族议题被讨论的话呢，然后政客就很容易把它当成是一个把柄，来让选民特别害怕你不得不投他不可。
The story of Snow in Midsummer follows a mother and daughter who lose contact with the rest of their family amid the riots, and the daughter's attempts to face her family's tragic past 5 decades later. Chong draws inspiration from traditional Chinese opera for much of the story, visuals, and even the film's title.
传统的这个戏曲叫《六月雪》它其实是来自元代的杂剧非常古老的一个剧本。那窦娥说：“我是被冤枉的。那如果你们不信的话，你把我头砍下之后呢，天上就会下雪。因为那时候是6月嘛，6月是夏天，怎么会下雪呢？结果真的，他头被砍了之后呢，天空就下起了雪。当时候人家才知道，原来窦娥是被冤枉的。其实以前的戏剧其实是通过戏曲来批评，或者是对于当时候政治的一种不满。”
More than a love letter to theatre and film, Chong wants his movie to be a wake-up call for Malaysia. Drawing comparisons to Taiwan's own dark history, he highlights the importance of governments learning from the past.
很多国家其实已经对历史事件的一种认可，他们才能够走得更远。打个比方，像台湾台湾对于228事件到现在大家已经可以谈论了，甚至是官方已经有一定的说法了。可是马来西亚依然对这段历史还是避而不谈的。
Snow in Midsummer is currently screening in cinemas in Taiwan and has been nominated for 9 awards at the 60th Golden Horse Awards, including Best Cinematography, Best Director, and Best Narrative Feature. Justin Wu and Rhys Ayres for TaiwanPlus.
For more on the Golden Horse Awards and this year's nominees, search Golden Horse on the TaiwanPlus website. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, check out this footage of some of the animals in the children's section of Taipei Zoo. I've been Rik Glauert. Take care and we'll see you next time.
I'm Leslie Liao in New York City, and this is Taiwan Plus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.